There is only love. Okay. Thank you for being here, everyone. The Christ in me beholds the Christ in you. Let's say that for each other. The Christ in me beholds the Christ in you. Thank you. The title of my talk this morning is, Are You There Yet? Saying Yes to Now. January 21st, that's today, and it marks an important period in the lives of many of us. We have lived 21 days into this new year. Boy, that's really gone quickly. 21 days used to be the time that was prescribed as to how long it takes to let go and release an old habit, and how long it takes to build a new, healthy habit. That's pretty much been debunked, however, but some people still use that idea. If, however, you have made resolutions, or as I often do, I choose not to do resolutions, I prefer doing intentions. Either way, though, you can lose sight of your resolutions and in your intentions, which has happened to me. However, the thing is, what do we do when we realize that 21 days into this new year and we still haven't taken action on what it is we have resolved or intended to do? Now, I imagine that a lot of us do kind of what I did. And I looked at the calendar and I thought, oh my goodness, this month is almost gone and I still haven't gotten back on that elliptical bike. Now, there is a reason why my elliptical bike is in the dining room. Okay? It's kind of like the story that I heard of this guy. He said to his wife that he was going to get one of these, not an elliptical, but a stationary bike, so that he could work on himself, get himself in shape and tone up. And he was trying to figure out where to put it in the house. And he had it in the garage. That didn't work because, of course, he didn't see it. Out of sight, out of mind. He brought it into the house. His wife didn't mind. And he had it in the dining room. And that didn't work either, okay? They didn't eat in the dining room often. And he forgot it was there. Then he brought it into the bedroom. And actually, she said no about that. He decided to go ahead and put it in the living room where the television was. He could ride the bike while watching TV. And his wife said, well, you know, how is this working? You never get on the thing. And he said, well, I get plenty of exercise because now I have to walk around it to get my chair to sit in my couch. So I guess he figured, you know, that's some exercise. Now, I, on the other hand, okay, I can easily forget that my elliptical bike is sitting there. In fact, I think the cats have even forgotten it's there. They used to like to play on it, get on the foot pedals and that kind of thing and run around it chasing each other. They don't even do that now. I think, so no one uses it. Every now and then when I come in from the garage, come in through the dining room, I throw my scarf on the handlebars because it's easy on my way out to pick it back up and go. I haven't thought about hanging my coat there. I usually sling that over the couch. But I visited my doctor for one of those annual exams last week on Tuesday. And the exam went well. I didn't have any complaints other than this allergy thing that keeps going on. And I said, by now, with all that freezing temperature, I would think everything that I would be sneezing and having a running nose to is dead. And my doctor suggested that this is probably environmental. And she said, did anything change in your environment? And I was thinking, no, nothing really has changed. But later when I got home, I started thinking, oh no, I hope I'm not allergic to Nicholas and Jordan, okay? My six-year-old and 3-year-old cat. And I realized, you know, this might be. Because with the cold weather, I've not been opening up the patio door and letting them run in the yard, and that, so there's no air coming in, and it's a pretty closed house, and so that might be it. She did prescribe a nasal spray for me, and I took that this morning, and I realized I'm really dried up. Okay, so it's working really, really well. But they did a battery of tests. My doctor sent me to the lab to do let's see, what was this called? An entire, entire metabolic testing, okay? All the lipids and cholesterol and all that. And so out of the tests that they did, there were 2 that were out of the normal range. My A1C, which is a test that measures how well my body metabolizes sugar over a 3-month period. And then the other one was cholesterol, which also ran higher than the normal. And my doctor wanted to put me on diabetic medicine and medicine for high cholesterol right then. And she knows that I don't like medicine, okay? Knows that I'm very bad because I often forget to take it. The only pill I'm on now is a once-a-day blood pressure pill. And when I test my blood pressure with my cuff and I'm okay, I don't take the pill. So they call about my new prescription is ready to pick up, and I'm still working on the other one. Okay? But she's okay. She knows I'm like that, okay, as long as I'm testing and I write down what I get there so that I can report that to her. We're good. But I told her, no, I don't want to go on this medicine, okay? And diabetes is in my family. My twin sister has it, and younger sister had it, and dad had it, and I have been staving off this condition by using natural products, okay, and keeping my weight down and watching what I eat. Well, the last 3 months, okay, that all went out the window. I realized I am a natural-born junk food lover. I love bread, all of these things that add the weight and also contribute to poor absorption of sugar, because all of these things turn into sugar in the body. So I said, I'm going to see if I can get back on the wagon, or some of you might prefer get back on the horse, okay? And see if I can get the weight down and the cholesterol. That means giving up my number 3 at McDonald's, my number 1 at Burger King, and the number 1 at Wendy's, okay? Except for occasional. It had gotten pretty bad. Oh yes, and soda is a very bad one because it's full of sugar. So it's interesting though, I was doing this before for years without any real motivation other than, okay, I don't want to get this, okay, because my family has a history here. And I never really knew whether these supplements that I was taking was really, really helping me. Now I know. They were definitely helping, okay? And so I have a new motivation to begin again. And like some of you, this has gone back on the books, okay? And I have a renewed interest in getting back to what my body needs to be healthy, okay? Because I don't want to do the medication thing. This week I was invited to a neighbor's house for dinner, and she made a great big pot of chili. We had chili and crackers, and she had all kind of crackers, and we had some kind of apple crumb pie. This woman can cook, okay? I hope I'm invited over there again. But she is Catholic. She and her husband, Charles, are Catholic. But we didn't talk about religion, really, other than she shared that her priest, before he begins speaking, he likes to share a funny story or a joke or that kind of thing. So she shared with me one that her priest had told. And I'm going to share it with you because it's pretty good. A portly man had decided for his new year he was going to go to the gym. He was going to get a membership and start working out at the gym and make himself healthier. So he was having a session with a trainer who was explaining the various machines and what they would do for him when he worked them. And while he and the trainer were discussing the machinery, a beautiful young woman passed by And he said to his trainer, and he was serious, well, what machine do I need to attract someone like her? And the trainer said, an ATM machine. I know. I didn't write it, okay? It came from the priest, okay? I don't think he wrote it either, though. But it did reinforce this idea that something that I need to do now, before it was want to, now it is need to do, is get my body healthier. And I tried different things. I tried distraction. I have my elliptical pointed toward the television in the living room, and I even turned the television, slanted that so I could see it while riding the elliptical. That worked for a little while. I downloaded movies, and I got my little laptop there on the kitchen counter so that I'm riding, I can look over and see the movie. That worked for a little while. And I realized that I didn't have the right diversion. I was actually looking for something to take my mind away from exercising. What I needed is something that put my mind into the exercise. And so I began working with affirmations while I'm pedaling. I'm healthy, happy, and whole. I'm healthy, happy, and whole. Up with the pedals, with the arms going this way, okay? And I found this is different. This is working well. This is something I want to do. And then I realized in Unity, we use affirmations when we are wanting to make changes in our lives, changes in our behaviors. We know that our thoughts and what we are doing with our thoughts determines how we're going to be expressing through the body. And we know that if we want to make changes in our physical condition or our spiritual, psychological experiences here, it all begins within us. We have something within us that gives us the ability to make change. We have something in us that gives us the ability to stay with something, to stand with it, to continue with it. And I have to admit, I wasn't really focusing on that. I was watching the news, okay, you know how the news affects me sometimes, okay? And I was listening to music, that helped, okay, but not like engaging my thoughts, my mind. And I began working with a different kind of affirmation. The affirmation tool called the imagination. Now, we learned in Unity that faith is that power, that spiritual faculty that we have that allows us to grasp divine ideas. And it is the imagination, which is called the scissors of the mind, that allows us to give shape and form to that idea that we have grasped. And so I began working with my imagination while working on the elliptical. And at first I thought, well, this might be, I've never skied, this might be like skiing, okay? I'm working the arms, okay? And I'm working the pedals here, okay? And the machine that I have has a button where you push the fan on, and I always had to put that on high, okay? And it's blowing right on me, so there's this idea that wind is blowing through my hair, okay? And I'm on the ski slope, okay? I'm going down the hill, swoosh, okay? And the air is crisp and chill, and I'm invigorated, okay? And I'm working out. In actuality, I'm sweat, okay? Perspiration dripping, okay? With the handlebars, I'm hanging over the place where the air comes out of. You ought to see. No, never mind. You don't want to see me, okay? But I have started back with this, and I realize that this is helping me, using my mind, occupying my mind in a positive way. And the imagination actually is an active way of using affirmation. Okay? What I began to see then is what we call seeing from the end of something. You have a goal, okay? And rather than staying with the goal or putting that off somewhere in the future, you begin to work with your spiritual gift of imagination, and you see the fulfillment of that experience in the here and now. We know in Unity that thoughts are things and thoughts are creative. And before anything out here has shape and form, it's first a form in our mind, in our consciousness. Okay? We give naked divine ideas clothing. Okay? And the more we think about them, the more energy we put into them, finally, they are so well clothed that they usher themselves into our life experience. And this is how manifestation basically works. Focusing on our failures, like me, taking a look at how far I have not come in this new year, actually that kind of holds us in a kind of prison. And it closes the doors for the possibilities of good. Because we are looking backward. We're not living in the only moment that we have, which is right now. Right now, there is power to change. Right now, there is the power to experience fulfillment. It's a Hasidic master was talking to his students about this idea that it's not helpful to bemoan the mistakes that we've made in the past. And he said to his students, rake the muck this way, rake the muck that way. It will still be muck. In the time that you are brooding about the muck, you could be stringing pearls for the delight of heaven. Isn't that an interesting way to express that? No matter how much I focus on the negative failure, it's still muck. Instead of focusing on my failure and feeling badly that I have not done what I should be doing for my body, I can take that energy and put it into what can I do right now that's going to bring about this change that I see myself experiencing in mind right now. And it is working for me. It is working for me, and it will work for you. Are you there yet? Part of getting there is saying yes to now and realizing there's no time and spirit. Jesus, in feeding the 4,000 and later in Scripture feeding the 5,000, did not pay any heed to this time factor, okay? That to multiply something, to grow something, it needs to go through all these stages. And I know we have in Ecclesiastes, to everything there's a season, okay? There is a growing, there is a process. But he was so evolved that he could crush that time so that it did not affect the demonstration. And so when he broke the bread, the demonstration was right then at that moment. You and I can do the same thing. He said we could. The things I do, you shall do, and greater shall you do if you believe. So we too can, in a sense, crush time by seeing ourselves with the fulfillment that is thinking at the end, by seeing ourselves already with the fullness. We are expressing what Jesus shared when he talked about the fields being ripe for harvest. He wrote, "Do not say that it is 4 months until the harvest. Lift up your eyes and see the field," he said, "for it is white for harvest right now." And my understanding of this passage is that our eyes tell us that there is lack, there is limitation, there is failure. But our heart can see beyond this and recognize that God's good is right now. That our fulfillment spiritually is right now. And we can learn to love and forgive ourselves. Now, how do we exactly say yes to the now moment? In a passage from Mark, the 11th chapter, verses 24 through 25, Jesus gives us 4 directives for how to work in the present moment for the fulfillment of our goals. He says, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. And whenever you stand praying, forgive, if you have anything against anyone, so that your Father also, who is in heaven, may forgive you your trespasses. Now, these are the four things. These are the four directives. Number one, ask, he said. Number two, believe that you receive the gift. That is, have faith in the achievement, the fulfillment, the successful outcome. Three, stand praying. And this means to me that we stand our ground. We stand with our intent. With whatever it is, we know that we are needing and wanting to change in our lives. We stand with that intent. And then, number four, forgive. Now, forgiving, it's really for us. We think that when we forgive someone, we're doing them a favor. It's the poison is within us. And by forgiving, we choose to let it go. We choose to, whenever we think of that person or what they did or what happened, we choose to release it and to let it go. To release it, bless it, and let it go. Love and forgiveness are important if we have failed to do what we have resolved to do in this new year. Being willing to work in the present for the good that we seek means that we are choosing to say yes right now. Not yes, tomorrow I'm going to have this healthy body, healthy weight, okay? Yes, right now, spiritually, I create that reality. And it motivates me to do what needs to be done in order to bring that idea into shape and form in my life. There's one other thing that Jesus said we need to do. In John 15, verse 7, Jesus tells us, if you abide in me and my words abide in you, you will ask whatever you desire and it shall be done for you. Now the word abide means to comply with, to obey, to observe, to conform, to acknowledge something, to accept or go along with something. And in this case, we are talking about going along with the teaching of Jesus, going along with the guidance that the inner Christ gives to us in our times of prayer and meditation. To abide in this and let it abide in us. And in unity, most often the way that we abide in the Word of God is by using affirmations. And the imagination is a powerful way to actively use the imagination. And in our meditation, I'm going to engage you in using this faculty of imagination to become aware of the fulfillment of your resolutions in the now moment. Thank you. God bless you.